So welcome to devlog number 2. Yeah, before I really start, I want to show you where we left off last week. Again, we only had one day last week where we were working on the game, and that was a lot of Amanda and I trying to figure out exactly what we're going to do and accomplish and how we're going to go about it and all of that. But I'll just show you where we left off. So I'm just hit play real quick, and I can hit the dice, and both of those dice are generated, and then of course once they settle, I'm trying to figure out which face is up, and then I'd score the percentage of from the D100 as well as what the disaster is that's facing up. Okay, terribly exciting. But let's fast forward to week 2, which was both Thursday and Friday, yesterday and the day before. So, and here we are in the updated version, and we now have a few little graphics, some UI that's in there, as well as we've added some sounds, and more stuff is happening with the board. I increased the size of the board, and I'm gonna eventually make that bigger each run. It'll get bigger as you go, and you'll be able to scroll the board and stuff. That's to come. But I just threw some temporary graphics up on the board, and these will actually be smashed by the dice. Just add a little comical aspect to it, and then of course they'll pop back up. And then there'll be people on here and relics and temples and all kinds of cool things that we're gonna have in the game. But let's go ahead and just see this in action. So I'll hit the dice. Now having a little game feel, doing a little bit of screen shake, got some particle systems happening as the dice are rolling, and now we have some UI that's popping up to show you which disaster you have rolled, as well as the percentage. And this continue button is just a temporary placeholder, but we can go ahead and continue, and then now we can actually place the disaster. Again, some temporary graphics here. And then once you place it, the disaster will happen. Right? Of course, we're not able to see the disaster just yet because we haven't got that far, but at least you can kind of see what's happening with the screen, and you get some feedback for what's happening with the disaster. And we actually have the full game loop completed. So you'll be able to get your results for what the disaster accomplished, and you'll be able to hit continue. And then we're going to have a period here real quick where the population will kind of continue to grow and things are happening on the board. But then you can go right back into rolling your dice again. And let's see if we get a different disaster. There we go. We now have an earthquake. So I'm going to hit continue. And now we've got an earthquake that we can place. And then we'll be able to place it. And then we'll also be able to rotate where that, what that's going to be and where it's going to go within the environment. So several of these you'll be able to rotate and send them off in a certain direction, like the storm. But you can see that we have that functionality in there, and then once you click, then it's going to actually do the disaster. And so getting that game feel in there was really fun for me to accomplish. And I did that with the feel asset from the Unity Asset Store. It took me a little bit to get that figured out with what I wanted to accomplish, but we now have a complete game loop in there for the initial gameplay. So that is what we were able to accomplish this week. And I think the game is actually coming fairly far. We've got particle systems for, releasing the disasters and stuff, but I just don't have those in there yet to show. But this is where we left off for devlog number 2. Oh, let me do a little self promo here real quick too. If you look at my hierarchy, you can see that, hey, this looks a little bit different than a normal hierarchy. And that's because I have a new Unity asset coming out called HierarchyPro. And this is a rule-based hierarchy system that allows you to customize your hierarchy based off of rules. So just to show it real quick, I have HierarchyPro as a tool. You can create rules. If you don't have any rules set up initially, you can add starter rules, and then it'll automatically add some rules that you can use. But you can go ahead and create your own rules. So I've got my feel game objects. I've made those to be background of orange. I can set the specific icon that goes along with those. Anytime I have something that's a folder, I'll use dash 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 space and whatever the name of that folder is. So I can set up a rule for that. I have sub game objects that are my game manager objects. And I set the background of those to be blue, what the color is of the text, what the icon is. You can do all kinds of actions with this. Now this is a game complete asset, so you set up a config file, or when you're making these rules, it sets up a config file, and then any scene you open up, it will automatically load the rules, and it will change your hierarchy based off of that. And the cool thing is, if you're doing a GitHub project like Amanda and I am, this shows up for her too. So any teammate will be able to see the exact same thing. They can set up rules as well, so your whole team can have access to this. This is HierarchyPro. It's going to be coming out soon on the Asset Store. It's in the review queue as we speak. So anyway, this is Devlog 2, and stay tuned till next week.